Who are we? How can we live our lives with purpose and meaning? What is it that we're looking for? Do we really need to look? Hello, I'm Neale Donald Walsch. You're about to have one of the most important moments in your life. You may not know it, but I promise you. Because we're going to have a conversation. We're going to share the insights and the awareness of some wonderful spiritual teachers who are going to take a look at the most profound questions in life. A part of you, whether you know it or not, has been longing to ask these questions of these teachers. There's a part of your soul that said, what is true about life? And how can I hear from those who have explored these questions before me? We stand, all of us, on the shoulders of giants. You're about to hear from some of those giants now. I'm very glad you're here.
Ultimate experience is one consciousness, no separation. So the ultimate experience is infinite ocean of love and light with no beginning and no end. But that ultimate experience is going to become the collective experience on this planet. So literally heaven is going to become heaven on earth. Because that infinite love and light and that acceptance is taking up residence inside humanity. And so earth is going to turn golden. And everyone's going to live in connection with themselves and who they are. And when I see you, I'll see you as myself and lovingly embrace you as myself. No longer see you as being different. So that's heaven. Heaven is understanding that everything is you, everything is an aspect of you. And living in that experience.
You know, what's really important is your relationship with the divine, which is your relationship with your inner being. So time with your inner being to really go inside, go within, and develop that deep practice of relationship, meditation, inner listening, inner dictation, whatever you want to call it, and then being able to live from your inner being.
What's already here seems to be like where the real magic is at. So my history is kind of a 12-ray variety show of different ways to access that one simple thing, which is just getting really quiet and getting out of the way to let the true self emerge.
Just relax. Stop trying to change anything and recognize what is already here. Then there may be changes, or there may be no changes, but that's secondary to what is always here.
It's possible for everyone to wake up and be free. It's possible for you. It's possible for everyone to wake up and be free. All it takes is your own willingness. First of all, you have to know it's possible, and secondly, you have to be willing. Everything else takes care of itself. Because what you're searching for is your own self. And how far is that from where you are right now?
Well, every human being is on a path of awakening. And some seem more awake than others, but each of us can only take the next step to our own awakening. So when you touched your heart, it's like, yeah, it's like coming home to who we really are inside. And it's happening more and more. I mean, I see more and more people who are awakening, and certainly the planet is awakening. The planet is in darkening too, but it's also awakening. And the contrast serves to grow.
The process by which we return to God is not a process by which we go anywhere, but stay right where we are. In a sense, it's not a returning to God at all. It's a being of divinity in this moment, right here, right now. It's a claiming of the experience of God from within. So we're not really going anywhere. And that's the insight. That's the process. That's the great surprise. The great surprise is there's nowhere you have to go, nothing you have to do, and no way that you have to be except exactly how you're being right now. And what I noticed is that we're entering a new paradigm right now that is almost naturally bringing forth an understanding that enlightenment is our true identity. It's an extraordinary time to be alive.
So now, more than any other time, people are coming into the fullness of who they are. It hasn't happened before. Historically, we've had, a few individuals embody these states. Now, everybody's embodying these states. So we're basically making the miraculous normal. And we're basically making that which was once accessible to a select few ordinary. So just come and remember who you are and lovingly embrace who you are. And at that point, that blessing and those seeds of greatness that the divine planted within you that exist in every human being flourish and shine forth because they're yours. It's always been you, always will be you.
If humanity is awakening now into unity consciousness, it's time for everybody to step up into their leadership and take responsibility so we can support everybody in the entire community now to do that. It's very important because it's a seedling. Humanity's growing spirituality just as a little tiny seedling that needs to be protected and nurtured now because it's so new what's occurring on the planet. We've never seen an evolution in consciousness like we're seeing occur on the planet today.
There is a interrelated nature to this divine tapestry that we're all a part of. And that ultimately we are all responsible for each other. And the good news is everyone who's watching this is going to experience it because it's not that far away.
Someone said that God is a flower that grew a nose to smell itself. And so consciousness is the piece of God in each of us that came into form to discover itself, to discover God, to discover higher powers. So every human being, and one could say all sentient beings, are points of consciousness through which God comes into form to know itself.
Healing, music, consciousness, even this conversation right here is all an expression of the divine. And so getting on the wave of the divine expressing itself in this moment, it becomes this, the greatest piece of art ever.
Of all the aspects of what it's like to be alive, the aspect called fear has probably the most impact. It is the most gripping aspect of the human adventure for many, many people. Certainly it has been in my life. Fear can be paralyzing. It can stop us in our tracks. I looked at fear very closely, and in my conversations with God, I asked God about it, and God said, you know what? I'll give you some insight here. Call your fears adventure. And when I heard that exciting idea, it was a great freedom giver. I never thought about it that way. Fear is false evidence appearing real. But I've got a new acronym for you. You're going to love this one. Here's the best acronym I ever heard for fear. Feeling excited and ready. What a great idea that every time you felt fear in your body, every time fear gripped your mind, you are actually simply feeling excited and ready. That's how we can deal with fear. That's one way. to deal with fear. It's one way to release fear. And there are other ways as well, more expanded ideas around this whole subject. I want you to watch very carefully right now, because there's a way that you can find yourself beyond fear.
Well, fear is, as far as I can see, is the root human controller. We all have it as animals, and it's a wonderful emotion. It serves us in our survival, but it very easily becomes co-opted by society or familial or cultural or religious ideas of what a person or a group or a family or a nation should do. But there's another choice, and that's to not follow the fear, to not obey the fear, and also to not suppress the fear. To actually open to fear, this root human emotion, this survival emotion, to open to it as energy, as simply vibration. And in order to open to it as simply vibration, we have to stop telling whatever narrative we are currently telling about what we're experiencing.
And so being afraid is not a problem. It's just what you do with it. And so if you're afraid and you're willing anyway to stay true to yourself, fear is not a problem. If fear runs your life, if I'm afraid and that means I can't do this because I might lose that, I can't do this because I might lose this, I might die, I might da-da-da, then fear is in charge. Then you're a slave of fear. And as long as you're a slave of fear, whether you have billions of dollars or no money at all, it's all a slave system. If you're willing to be afraid and it doesn't matter, to be afraid and still stay true to the truth, then fear's an ally.
People have been hypnotized. We believe we're small and limited and powerless and separate and lonely and worthless. And we buy into these illusions that keep us small. And then we keep bumping our head against the wall wondering why. Well, the truth is that somebody told us a lie and we believed it. And so the spiritual path for me is about facing lies long enough to dissolve them and discover the truth on the other side of them. And then when you come out on the other side, you're free.
When we're willing in this moment to die, not wanting to die, not hoping to die, but willing, then there is no fear, because that's what it is in our bodies for, to keep us from dying, luckily, beautifully, but for a moment to not be tyrannized by survival is a moment to recognize yourself as free consciousness. And then fear may appear or not, but you have recognized yourself as that is before survival and after survival and during the survival of the particular creature. So that I invite people and support people and challenge people to meet whatever is being avoided. Sometimes the emotions are nested, but finally we get to fear. And in that, then, to meet what is under fear. And finally, to meet yourself as you are, before any name of yourself or any distinction of yourself as male or female, or enlightened or unenlightened. And then here you are, here we are, oneself.
You know, as I experienced this point in time and listened to all the talk that's taking place all around the world on all the blogs and the websites and in all the books and all the lectures, I hear lots of phrases and lots of words, and one comes up more than almost any other one to describe part of what's going on right here. That word is paradigm, the paradigm. I hear a lot about the old paradigm and the new paradigm, and that we have to shift paradigms. What is a paradigm anyway? Some people say, what's that? A paradigm is a way of holding the whole thing. It's a way of, how would I say it? Melding our thoughts, our ideas, our beliefs, our words, our actions, and our experience all into one. It's that which creates the whole container from which flows the expression of humanity. Our old paradigm has been a paradigm of fear, of separation, of scarcity. Nobody has to be told that. And we can see what that old paradigm has produced in our day-to-day experience as a species. But now what's happening? Now what's occurring on this planet is a marvelous opportunity to shift, to create a new paradigm, a paradigm of love and of unity. No more separation consciousness, no more fear consciousness, but moving now into an expression of who we really are and taking the light of that expression and spreading it around the world. This is the promised paradigm, and you're part of co-creating it.
As we sit here, we're in the middle of two paradigms. So right now, every human being is simultaneously experiencing two paradigms of existence. The old paradigm is fear, scarcity, separation. And that is where the illusion of suffering resides. Fear, separation, scarcity, that is the illusion of suffering. That's at the root of it all. The emerging paradigm is love, collaboration, and unity. So from where I'm sitting, there's no suffering on this planet. From where I'm sitting, everybody's going through what they have to go through in order to embrace the new paradigm. And more people are going to remember who they are, completely spontaneously.
And that's part of the new paradigm of unity consciousness that's being set into the grids, lines of the earth and of humanity now. Is this new energy that's being infused into the earth is end the struggle, release the struggle, and embrace the joy and live in the joy.
And this new paradigm of human experience is taking hold and is spreading. People all over the world are remembering the fullness of who they are. And in their remembrance, that then translates to so many other people. And it's being done through their presence. It is not actually something that they are doing. It is through their presence that it is being done.
For a long time, especially the elder generations have really been holding the light, holding this vision of, we know it's coming, come on, we can get there, come on humanity, we can do this. And I see so many elders just at that point of we're done, we're handing this to you now, we've held it long enough, to the next generation.
Consciousness evolves in waves. And we can see how the enlightenment that starts in France, maybe in the Age of Enlightenment, spreads to America. And the revolution that happens in America is just now reaching places like Egypt and the Middle East. So that wave started hundreds of years ago, just now reaching places it hasn't reached yet, and hasn't yet reached places in Africa and Asia, places where it's still this wave of enlightenment, of human rights, universal rights, hasn't yet reached, but it will. And this awakening is the same thing. Awakening has been here for thousands of years. And now it's spreading, it's reaching. The wave has now washed onto this shore. And it will continue to deepen and spread, and then it will wash across the world. And then who knows how it will turn out. But it's possible for everyone to wake up and be free. Just like we all have basic human rights, we all have the capacity to wake up and realize the truth of ourselves. Everyone. We're all the same. It's the same heart, the same mind. Really, there's only one. And when we realize that, everyone can be free. Everyone can be happy.
Every single human being, regardless of where they were born, who their parents were, what they're doing, what the circumstances and situations of their life is, we're all on the same path. We're all heading to the same place. We're just experiencing it in different ways. Every one of us has a completely unique viewpoint of the greatest happening in the history of the universe.
You know, many times negative thoughts and emotions and feelings cloud our life. What is this all about? Why does negativity have to be there to begin with? Negative emotions, thoughts, and feelings might just be the greatest gift you've ever received. Wouldn't it be interesting if we decided to hold it that way, to hold all of our negativities as gifts that allow us to release our attachment to certain negative aspects of our life? What does cause happiness anyway? What is the fundamental basis of that which brings us joy? That's very much worth exploring. And it's something that a lot of people haven't really thought about, not deeply. And I can tell you, I can give you one little clue that can help you release negativity from your life. Adopt a spiritual practice. See, the joy of a spiritual practice, the wonder of a spiritual practice, the surprise of a spiritual practice is that it can put you in touch with a part of yourself that has nothing to do with negativity, but only the truth of who you really are. There's more wisdom that we'd like to share with you now about negative emotions and feelings in your life and exactly what they're all about. Watch this.
I was looking for happiness all my life, I guess. I think that that is an essential human ingredient, and for some people, happiness means just enough food so that you don't starve. Some people, it means safety so that you aren't killed or raped or harmed. But for me, in my particular situation, being born in a free country and being relatively at peace, I was just personally unhappy. So I didn't have big problems, but I had this search, this pursuit of happiness that started very early and that turned into a preoccupation. So that by the time I met my teacher, Papaji, H.W.L. Punja, in India, and it was like the pursuit of happiness. It's an amazing kind of dilemma because it's actually a gift to be able to pursue happiness. But then as we pursue happiness, we often become more aware of what's blocking happiness than the happiness that's already present.
Life isn't about being one particular way. You know, if you live your life to be happy, you'll be the most miserable person on the planet. Because when you're not showing up as being happy, you're suffering because you think you should be happy. It's not true. Life isn't about being happy. Life is about experiencing whatever it is that you need to experience. Your sadness, your fear, your joy, everything. You know, you didn't come here to just paint with one color. You came here to use an entire box of colors and to experience the full spectrum of what it is to be human.
So we need to release that which is blocking us from the joy and get back to the joy, release the doubt, release the stress, release the negativity, and come back to the joy. And if you want to know how to do that, I'd suggest spiritual practice, prayer, forgiveness, meditation, yoga, breath work, keeping inspired, uplifting company with awakened people around you, and staying away from negativity, not indulging in negativity because it'll just suck you down into an abyss. There's plenty of negativity if you look for it, including your own. You have to rise up above your own negativity and remember that you're not that. And it's easy to release stress through meditation and exercise and self-care. If you really make it a spiritual practice on a daily basis, you can do it. It just needs time and energy put aside for it. It's the priority.
if you're stuck in stuff and you're watching TV and you're drinking and you're fighting and worrying and watching the news and feeling depressed, well, that ain't it. And eventually the heaviness of that life and belief system is going to catch up with you. You're going to get sick, you're going to feel bad, you're going to fight, you're going to worry. And in an odd way, all of those experiences are motivations to seek something else. So even if there's a little glimmer of hope, maybe you find a book, maybe you know one person who you consider illuminated or a happy person, read that book, hang with that person. Maybe you have a retreat place you like to go to, maybe you like to walk on the beach or go to the mountains or play with your dog. Do it, because anything you do that opens your heart and brings you joy is going to take you home to God.
I truly believe that we each have access to a higher self, to our soul, to an aspect of ourselves that's firmly rooted in heaven. And we can never mess that up. We can never mess that up.
All of our traditional philosophies and religions have each brought us to a place of great clarity, wisdom, and understanding about many things. So when I look at our belief systems from the past, I think of this. They're incomplete, but not necessarily wholly inaccurate. So there is expansion and additional information to be had. The mistake that some people make with regard to past belief systems is that they believe those belief systems are the sum total of all we need to know on that subject. That would be a mistake. But tossing out all the wonder and the wisdom that many of our belief systems have to give us would be equally a mistake. The opportunity here then is to discover what exists beyond our present belief systems. How can we expand our notion of things to include a grander idea of all of it, who we are, why we're here, and what's up for us at this point in human history. Expansion, not rejection. That's the answer with regard to your beliefs.
I appreciate belief systems, and I have been in belief systems, but I appreciate most what is free of any belief. What all beliefs are perhaps pointing to at the core. All doctrines are religions, but that no doctrine, no religion, no belief can capture in totality.
Every belief system is a limitation and a ceiling that we have to break through. Right now, people are chasing concepts. And what's happening is beyond the concept.
Belief systems are what structure our reality. So what we believe is what we create and what we experience.
All beliefs are traps. The most spiritual beliefs are traps. The belief that we're all one, the belief that we're all that we're all God's children, the belief that we're all, and it's only an ego, it's only a story, the belief, whatever the belief is, it's a trap. It's a trap. It's a way of conceptualizing the truth and missing the truth. Because the concepts of the truth are actually lies.
If you find that you can't quite express the fullness of your being within a belief system that you learned or adopted from your church or adopted from your parents or society, take a look at it. You know, it might be time to upgrade to something else that gives you a little more wingspan.
Well, the initials of belief system are BS. So we all need belief systems. You can't not have a belief system. So the idea is that you work with the current belief system that's real to you because you will verify it, it will validate itself. But then every belief system ultimately gives way to a bigger one. So I noticed on my own path, I had a certain belief system that expanded, and I keep letting go of the old. It's like sea creatures, they will weave a shell around them But when they outgrow the shell, they leave a new one and they leave the shell behind. So the shell really serves while it's in force, but then has to give way to something bigger.
In fact, any belief in anything other than yourself, you disempower yourself. When ultimately, all along, the only thing that you needed to believe in was you. And the only person you needed to love was yourself. Because the divine made you exactly the way you are. So, if you want to have a belief system, believe in yourself. Honor yourself, worship yourself, love yourself.
I don't know who the first human being was to ask the question, why am I alive? What is the purpose of being human? But I can promise you it wasn't yesterday. We've been exploring that subject for a long, long, long time. I should imagine as long as human beings have had the ability to self-reflect. And we've heard many, many, many answers to the question, what is the purpose of being human? Why am I here? What's this really all about? What's it all about, Alfie? Now don't worry, I'm not going to sing. But I am going to share with you what Conversations with God told me about this subject. Conversations with God said that the purpose of life, the purpose of being human, is to recreate yourself anew in the next grandest version of the greatest vision ever you held about who you are. That is, we are divinity expressing itself in its next grandest version. So the purpose of being human, the raison d'etre, the reason for being, who you really are, is to increase and expand who you really are, your notion of yourself and your expression of life, that God might know itself through you.
I feel the purpose of being human is to have as much fun as possible, to grow as much as possible, to learn as much as possible, to expand our consciousness. And there's a little blank at the end there, which is for you to fill in. Because each of our purpose, as much as we do have collective purpose, that is a common thread that I feel we all have in common, which is to grow as a soul, to expand, to learn. I feel there's individual reasons we all come in too. And so that little blank at the end of that question too, I think is for each of us to ask in each day.
Purpose of being human, wow. I have no idea. Let us discover.
All of us want the same thing, you know. We want to reach that place that some people call enlightenment. We want to express divinity through us. We want to have the experience that is being talked about here and has been talked about so much in these days and times. But how do we get there, really? I mean, do we need a special teacher to help light our path? Is it necessary to find our path through someone else, or can we get there without a guide? Can we get to the top of the mountain without someone reaching down and leading us up there and showing us the way? Is that possible? That's a good question. Because a lot of us don't have the opportunity to find that guru, that teacher, that special other one. What if the greatest teacher was within? What if, in fact, we all could have our own personal conversation with God, connecting with the greatest messenger there ever was? Is such a thing possible? Can we learn about God and ourselves? Can we learn about the whole meaning of life, the whole purpose, without a teacher?
I know that not everyone needs a teacher, because I hear from people who have awakened that they didn't have a teacher. So I don't believe that there's any rule or formula. I know I had to have a teacher. And that could just be because I was so certain I didn't need a teacher. And in fact, I was very anti-teacher for a period in my life. I was certainly anti-guru. I had seen the abuses of the guru-student relationship, and it seemed infantile to me. But at a certain point, in the late 1980s, I recognized that I had really done whatever I knew to do. And there was something still missing. And in that and from that, I actually prayed for a teacher. And I asked for a teacher, and the teacher was there within 6 months. And for me, it was a blessing of my lifetime. But I don't know what is needed for other people. I think that that's really the important part, that there is no formula. You don't have to be from a certain part of the country. You don't have to be a certain gender. You don't have to have particular karma or particular astrological alignment to discover the truth of who you are. Because that truth is free.
Having a spiritual teacher is extremely helpful, a guide, a mentor on the spiritual path. You know, we all need guides. We need teachers to learn anything in this world. So just having somebody to help you keep your ego in check, having somebody to help you to distinguish what's your ego, what's your inner voice, help you distinguish how far you are on the path, what you still need to burn through, somebody who has the eyes to see. It's really helpful, and somebody who can help you burn up your karma much quicker. That's very helpful on the path too.
I think it's necessary to have a guru. You need a guide. However, sometimes that guru shows up in the form of an Indian yogi. Sometimes it's a Course in Miracles. Sometimes it's simply your deep inner knowing. I think, you know, Ram Dass is a very dear teacher, and his guru told him, Guru, God, and self are one. So the real guru lives inside, and at best, the outer guru is a reflection of what's inside and awakens what's inside. So yes, you need a guru, but it doesn't have to be one in a particular form that you might designate as a person.
I think more and more people are coming to the realization at this point in time that we are the light. But the light of what? What does that mean, we are the light? It's another one of those phrases we hear a lot during this day and time. I am the light. I believe that the phrase refers to the light of God. That God is, if we were to translate godliness or divinity into physiological form, pure light. The light of divinity is what in fact we are. And you can feel that light sometimes. It's almost a warmth flowing through you as you. You can experience yourself being divine when you almost feel yourself, I don't know how to put this, shining your light on humanity itself and all of life as it expresses and experiences itself around you and through you.
The light is the divine. There's two aspects to God. There's a personal aspect to God, which is a form. God comes in a form to an individual as Jesus or Moses or Krishna or, you know, however, an angel and a dolphin. And there's the transpersonal, absolute aspect of God, which is pure consciousness. And that's the aspect of God that is before creation, beyond creation, and the creation itself. So it's the unmanifest pure consciousness. And that unmanifest pure consciousness is the light that comes in and forms creation. And so the light is beyond the form.
Enlightenment has the word light, of course, in the word, so it lends itself to allowing light to flow and being in the light. Light is information, but the heart and love are a crucial part of becoming a superconductor for the light. If that makes sense. So light flowing through our bodies, if we're just, you know, processing it as information through our minds, that's really beautiful. But when we add love and an open heart to that experience and embrace each moment with an open heart and letting the light flow through our heart as well, our whole being heart-centered, it's like we're a superconductor at that point. Yeah.
I experience divine consciousness through meditation, through prayer, through being in nature, through beautiful music, through being with my beloved partner, playing with my dogs. When I'm writing, I feel the divine is moving through me. When I'm teaching or coaching, I feel the divine is moving through me. I don't think God is hiding from us. I think we're hiding from God. Someone said, if you feel separate from God, who moved? So I think that there are an infinite number of ways to discover our wholeness, our divine consciousness. We just have to quit arguing for our not Godness and quit playing the game of being limited bodies and illusions.
And so this shift in consciousness is being implemented not by one individual, but by the divine itself. And lots of people are playing their part in their own way. And so my role has been to share this presence with people, along with just this simple message that really there's nothing wrong with you. You know, the divine loves you the way you are. That's it. Be yourself. And embrace who you are, and then at that point, that light and all that you are shines through you. See? Because you end the resistance to being yourself, that divine aspect that we are shines through our humanity. And so this presence is here to implement this vibrational transformation that's occurring. So the vibration of the planet is being elevated. So there's a planetary transformation. Then there's a personal transformation. Vibration of individuals is elevated. And now we're at a point where spontaneously, for no reason at all, people are going to come into the fullness of who they are. Because all of the work's been done. Everything's been done. The old paradigm was effort, work. You had to do something in order to bring something into existence because of the thickness of the density of the collective consciousness. Now, it's like popcorn popping all over the place for no reason. People are flourishing and sprouting into expanded states of awareness that were always within them. You see? And this is being done directly by the divine.
You know, for many people, enlightenment, another word we hear a lot bandied about these days, feels like something that we must attain, something that we have to reach for, strive for, yearn for, earn almost in some way or another. That's not been my experience, however, of enlightenment. My experience of enlightenment is that it's a light of consciousness that illuminates from within us and that it already exists in us. It's like something that is always there, that is a part of who we are, that is in fact who we are, and that it's not about us reaching for it or seeking it or attaining it, but rather calling it forth. And that we call forth enlightenment first by simply knowing that we have it, that it is our natural state of being. As each moment of life presents itself to you, you will see that that moment has been presented to you by life itself as an opportunity for you to experience your own true identity and to demonstrate your enlightenment. So allow the moment to show you what it is to be enlightened. You will know intuitively, then dare to step into it. Dare to demonstrate the fearlessness, the love, the sense of unity, the compassion, the awareness, the understanding, the self that you are.
People have a wrong concept out in the world of what enlightenment is. They have an expectation that it's something unreachable, that it's intangible, that it's out of range, and it's mysterious to humanity. And it's really not, actually. Enlightenment is actually to be fully connected to the light. That's it.
Enlightenment has become a concept. And enlightenment actually is your natural state of being. It's not a concept, it's who you are. It's as real as your arm or your leg. It's as much a part of you as that, you see. And so people are seeking these concepts as a solution to their problems that they perceive they have.
We have some ideal of enlightenment as a perfection of emotions and mind and body. Different groups have different ideals, but it becomes part of what keeps us separate. Until we have attained some perfected ideal, we are not enlightened, and so therefore we have not succeeded.
So you can become enlightened about anything. You can learn how to repair a car engine, and now you're enlightened about how car engines work. So wherever there was darkness, you shine the light. Traditionally, classically, it's shining the light on the ignorance of our own nature. And the thing about ignorance is that the root of it is ignore. And so all of us, as identified as human beings, we're ignoring the truth of ourselves. And ignoring the truth of ourselves, we're in ignorance. When you shine the light, the darkness disappears. You don't have to fight with the darkness, you don't have to scrub it or clean it or transform it. You shine the light, there's no more darkness. It's that simple. So the light of consciousness shines back on its own source.
If we're speaking of enlightenment, is that which points to the totality, the perfection that includes all imperfections, the fulfillment that has room for sadness and grief and fear and anger, the connection that makes no distinction between you and me and makes no distinction between enlightenment and unenlightenment. Then, in my experience, the only reaching of that is the willingness to stop reaching for anything, to open to what is always here, regardless of what is being thought or felt or experienced, what is always here. And that is the light of consciousness.
When Lord Buddha chilled out, he realized that he was already enlightened. So he spent his whole lifetime doing things in order to experience this thing called enlightenment. But ultimately, when he relaxed into himself and who he was, that enlightenment shone forth. So enlightenment is not something that you need to attain, it's who you are. It's a part of you, you see. I don't understand what all this seeking for this enlightenment is, you know? It's very funny to me, really. Because it's like, where are you going? You know? Where do you think you're going?
Well, they say there's a seeker born every minute. And there is a time in life where seeking, because if you're lost and stuck and alone and afraid or alcoholic or broken or messed up, you better seek. However, my experience is that when you're on the spiritual path for quite a while, the identity of a seeker actually becomes limiting. And you want to switch to an identity of a finder, because it's very possible you can be a lifetime seeker and a professional seeker, and the carrot is always 3 feet away from you. And you get a little bite once in a while, but it's always just one fishing rod away.
I feel that the best way to reach enlightenment is to stop reaching. It's like it's the difference between that and this. And at any given moment throughout the day, there's a part of our little monkey mind going, what's the next thing? What's that next book? And what's the next workshop I could go to? And always seeking something new. And enlightenment feels like allowing that monkey to be there, but not letting it pull us out of this moment.
Everything is in divine order. Everyone's divine. I'm divine. Everything's unfolding in divine order. So at that point, everything becomes a blessing. No matter what I'm experiencing, it's a blessing from the divine. So who am I not to experience it? So at that point, simply experiencing everything in its totality is why we're here. It's not really about learning lessons or understanding something. Everybody has to go through what they have to go through and have these experiences. So we are experiential beings. We are here to experience a reality. You know, we're here to experience the illusion of separation. We're here to experience the illusion of suffering. We're here to experience this chasing of this enlightenment. You know? We're here to experience all of these things. You know? And ultimately that's what life is. Life is a series of experiences, one after another. And each experience is a blessing. Each experience leads you home.
Why are we here? And who are we? We started off with that question. And we come to that question again over and over repeatedly throughout our lives. We are here as representatives, that is, representations of divinity itself, choosing to experience itself through us and as us, and placing itself into a context that we call physical life, or what you might call darkness, that we might experience ourselves as the light. It's just that simple, and that complex.
We're here to remember that we are the divine. We're here to remember that we are co-creators. We're here to remember that we are the light. We're here to remember that we are beings of pure love and pure joy. And until we fully embody and fully get that, we don't graduate. And so we learn through who we are not in order to realize who we are. So we manifest in opposites here on this realm of duality. So we learn through all the experiences of the darkness in order to figure out that we are the light. Because ultimately the darkness is serving the light. And so we're here in this school to learn our lessons and to remember who we are.
See, right now we're at a stage in our development where people have yet to remember the fullness of who they are. And so it's like, you know, you can't be loved by somebody who doesn't fully love and embrace themselves. You see, the only place where that love can come from authentically is from Source, because Source is living permanently in that state of experience.
We are rays of the sun, and every ray has all the attributes of the sun. It's light, it's warmth, it travels at a certain speed. And so we're not separate from God, we're extensions of God in form.
I hope by now we've already established that you are the light of divinity, flowing through you as you. Yet you will call forth the darkness, bring it into your own life, what you call the darkness, that you might know yourself as the light. Therefore, when the darkness visits you, raise not your fist to heaven and curse the darkness not, but be a light unto the darkness, that you might know who you really are.
You're going to stop, wake up from that role of being a survival suit, which means wake up from personal survival, sexual survival, social survival, to find what's real, to find who you are, to find the truth of existence. And in that then, we become the embodiment of immortal consciousness in human form.
I would say the truth is within us, and we are within the truth. That there is finally no separation between inside and outside, or between truth and who we are. Even between truth and who we think we are, there's no separation. Who we think we are is a limited version of truth. And the truth is the totality.
Remember that your dreams can come true, and regain your faith in your dreams. Regain your hope and your belief that you can have what you desire, and that your life can turn around and become the highest dream imaginable if you believe it, if you desire it, if you allow it, and if you persevere and persist. It will happen to you.
Each of us has access to this higher self. And so part of the game that we all are sharing is to reclaim our access to our higher selves, to clarify that communication, to really refine the communication so that it's not even a thought. Is this what I'm to do? Yep.
Who we truly are is love, and that God is love, and that the entire universe is composed of love and created in love, and that we can get to the divine by being love, and not just being love with people we love, but being love with everyone, being in love with all life, with all of creation, which means we have to work through our resentments. Everybody has them. We have to work through our judgments. Everybody has them. It's part of being human.
There's nothing wrong with you. Nowhere to go. Nothing to change, nothing to fix, nothing broken. Just embrace who you are and experience what happens within.
I think this is a time on the planet that is moving us to look within. I think there are many belief systems and institutions and external structures that are crumbling, that are revealing themselves as not serving the purposes that they were intended to serve. And so each of us must, at this time, look to the inner self, to the God within, to the higher power for our answers. We're looking to internal authority more than external authority.
And ancient civilizations knew that there would be a shifting of an age. And it's not just the Mayans, in India they knew that. Every ancient civilization and culture knew that we would be experiencing a shifting of an age at this time. And this shifting of an age is not the end of the world, it's the end of a paradigm of existence that doesn't work anymore. That's all it is. It's a shift in consciousness, that's all. So 2012 has been a great motivator, to get people to really think, oh, maybe there is something to this 2012. I better start, doing something about it, But ultimately, it's already done. It's already done. And everything now is just unfolding in the way that it needs to.
I don't think that it takes a great deal of convincing for you to be clear that we are, in fact, at this exact moment in time on this earth, going through a very special and important period. I might even say, if I wanted to be a little bit dramatic, a crucial period in the evolution of our species. It is time now for us to come to some very large realizations. I don't think, to be honest with you, that humanity can go forward much further without coming to those realizations. And it's your opportunity to take us, to join in the collaborative process by which we take ourselves to these realizations. Realization number one, we are all one. Nothing is separate from anything else. Realization number two, there's enough. There's enough for all of us. And what there isn't enough of in our appearance, we can create, collaborating together. Realization number three, there's nothing we have to do specifically. There's only the process of being who you really are. We've talked now a lot and heard from some wonderful teachers about who you really are. Can you believe that? Can you embrace that? Can you accept the notion that you've heard from these wonderful teachers of who we really are and what the purpose of life really is? Can we wake up and find the truth within us? We can if we assist each other. Remember a while back we talked about, is it necessary to find a teacher, to have a guru? No, it's not. But wouldn't it be nice to be a messenger? Wouldn't it be nice to bring one of those who carries awareness and consciousness into the lives of others? If we're going to reach our goal of a totally evolved, highly evolved species, it's going to depend on the commitment that you make to become one of those messengers, to carry the messages you've heard today, that you've always known and been merely reminded of just now, to all those whose lives you touch. To return to God by returning to the true sense of self through the experiencing of divinity within us. Now, let me give you one last clue. Because I asked God, okay, I get it. How can I experience the divinity of you through me? What's the fastest way for me to get there? How can I experience divinity in me? I want it right now. No more talking. I want the experience of it. God said, it's really very simple. Experience the divinity in others, in everyone else whose life you touch. See them as divine, treat them as divine, embrace them as divine, know them as divine. Do that and you will know yourself and experience yourself as divinity as well. It'll happen just that quickly. That's the opportunity for all of us. That's what all these teachings that you've just heard have been all about. Not just telling you what's so, but reminding you of what you already know. That you might remind others that the single and sole goal of your life might be to give people back to themselves. That you might know who you really are in the doing of it. Is there a better reason and a better way to live?
Thank you.